My Twitter and Facebook family. This is Gwen Samuel. Many of you know me as Real Talk Gwen Samuel. And I would like to talk to you briefly about the Connecticut Coalition. Let me make sure I get the acronym right. The Connecticut Coalition for Justice and Education Supreme Court ruling that was just handed down 2 days ago, and what it means for Black, Latino, and poor children. One thing I know it means is that we need to bypass education choice rhetoric and fight for it in all its forms at this rate. Because basically, this Supreme Court judge 2 days ago uprooted previous Supreme Court rulings and a Superior Court ruling that occurred last year. So first, the Connecticut Coalition in Justice for Education dealt with equitable funding. So the status quo, there were educators, school districts, brought a lawsuit saying that education wasn't funded fairly because of our education funding formula. And I agreed with that, because depending on you live, determine how much money you get. So it wasn't like a flat rate, every child gets $10,000 and it's weighted accordingly. Property taxes were factored in. Some districts can have as high as $20,000 a year per student, and another district can have as low as $10,000-11,000. So big discrepancies in funding, and that I agreed with. What I didn't agree with the lawsuit is the fact that they wanted more money. No one wants to be held accountable. No one wants to be evaluated for performance, but you want more money. So I agree with judges in all of the decisions, Superior Court and Supreme Court, saying that money wasn't the issue. The judge last year, Judge McCalsher, stated it's how you spend the money, which is problematic, because schools are for children. So he basically said the decisions you make should be in their best interest. The Superior Court judge from 2 days ago said, oh no, it's because of poverty. These black, brown, and poor children, the reason why they're doing terrible is because they're poor. Really? So, if you have a teacher that don't like black children, let's just keep it 100, y'all. We were founded on institutional racism. So let's not pretend that every teacher in the classroom likes black children, likes poor children. That's why we got belief gaps. That's why you see teachers don't even believe in their children's of color ability. There was just a recent study from Yale that talks about biases in preschool. So let's not pretend racism doesn't exist in the classroom, because it does. Ergo, you can't blame that on poverty. Okay? So, judge, that's the flaw I see. Number one. Number two, research after research clearly states that some of our most ineffective teachers always end up in poor minority districts, or districts that serve majority kids of color, black, Latino, and poor. So that can affect outcome. Ergo, you can't blame poverty for that either. In Connecticut, the teachers successfully, and I'm not putting this all on educated, I'm just trying to show you there are so many flaws that the Supreme Court judge last year got it right. I was very happy about the Supreme Court judge from last year, McCalsher, because at least he was looking at the whole picture of education. At least he was pushing back against our state. But this judge 2 days ago just gave our state a free pass to continue as business as usual. That means if you didn't like black children and you didn't do right by them, don't worry about it. You ain't got to do right, because it's all about poverty. And the Constitution, I guess, doesn't address poverty, even though I'm looking at it from equal protections. Because if you're treating non-minority better, or you're providing more equitable funding for more affluent neighborhoods than the poor, then to me it's unjust. So that means we're not having equal protections, but this judge stated otherwise. So that's number one. So then number two, The silence of our black leaders. I've saw news articles after news article. I've seen groups like ComCan, the Connecticut Coalition for Achievement Now, I think Yankee Institute weighed in, but the organizations that need to weigh in, are silent. Members of our advisory board of the Connecticut Parents Union didn't even want to put out a statement. We haven't even put out a statement because they felt we always put out a statement. We're always watchdog. This all volunteer. We don't get any funding from any major organization, so we have to use our time wisely. And they're saying, Gwen, let some of these other organizations do some of the heavy lifting. And then when it's time to hit the ground running, we should hit the ground running. I'm just tired of running. Right? At some point, we have to stand our ground for our children. At some point, all children have to matter. At some point, it is just not okay to treat children differently. I tried to put the American flag behind me to show you that I was born in New Jersey. Okay? I'm from here. And yet you treat many of the children like we're not American citizens. And Connecticut, and I shouldn't be shocked, right? So why am I shocked? Connecticut is the home of the Black Law, the 1833 Black Law, which was our first zip code education law. Because there was a young lady, a white, I believe she was a Quaker, Prudence Crandall, who I had an African all black girls school. And the state wasn't going to have that. And so people started coming from other states to come to this school. So they vandalized it. I think they burned it down. They did a whole bunch of other things to it. And then they passed a law saying, and other black girls can't come from other states to our school. So I believe that's where we got the evolution of our zip code laws. So all I'm saying is, I don't even know why I'm shocked. Because Maya Angelou said it well. When they show you who they are, believe them. And they've showed us year after year, decade after decade. From Dred Scott to Plessy Ferguson to Brown v. Board of Education to cases like this. Time and time again, institutional racism continues to pass public policies or enforce laws that oppress and harm us. Not just black children, Latino children, children with special education service that are in need of special education services, those with disabilities, because in Connecticut we used to have screen rooms where when we didn't know what to do with children with behavior problems, so-called behavior problems, because some of the things, I believe, it's what's happening in the classroom that children are reacting to. But don't get me started. So I just thought I would weigh in and tell you why I'm mad. That radio show, Tell Them Why You're Mad. I'm not mad at the decision per se, because that's history in America. What I am mad about is the silence of the people that need equity in education the most. Silence of the people that look more like me. Silence of leaders who we vote into office to say, look, just can you fight for us? We have a Black and Puerto Rican caucus, one of the few ones in the country. So here we are. So the question becomes, what next? That's the question. And the answer to that is, parents will have to stop believing what the status quo says. Because they've showed us. They don't care about your black children, the brown children, the poor children, those with disabilities. We're the wealthiest state in the nation, so let's put that in context. Money's not our issue. Fiscal and personnel accountability is. And until we hold every education stakeholder, including parents, accountable to outcomes for children? Why be shocked of the Supreme Court ruling? The question I have to answer as an education advocacy. So I want to take as an education advocate. Do I even want to take this on? Right? I've gotten so many calls. Miss Gwen, what are we going to do next? We took the training. What next? What next? What next? We know what next. We know what to do. History has showed us what to do. The question becomes, do we have the courage to do it? So, thank you so much for listening. I have my t-shirt on. I celebrate Black history because it happened. And I celebrate Black history because I'm Black all day, every day. So, thank you so much for letting me share. I'm just in limbo right now because there's just been a blow to civil rights in Connecticut, and it has serious, serious implications. But no one's talking about it, and unless we hold a meeting, the Connecticut Parents Union, or me, then it don't get done. And I'm not being ego, I'm just saying, I don't know if there was somewhere else I could go, if there was the NAACP or the Urban League or anybody, I would be a follower now. But it just makes me realize that, do Black and poor communities really understand the implications of public policy and how it intersects our lives and what happens when it fails us? But most importantly, it fails our children every day, and we keep sending them to schools. So I will tell you now, I am so 500% for education choice right now. It's not even funny. I don't want to hear no rhetoric. I don't want to hear what it does or doesn't do. I just know what the judge ruled a couple of days ago. It's not in my best interest as a Black parent and as an education advocate. So, thank you again for letting me share, and talk to you soon. Have a great one. And as they say, the struggle continues. And in Connecticut, the struggle really, really continues. Have a great one. Bye-bye.